Hi everyone, it's kilzhot from 99 Gaming, and this is Fear the Walking Dead Season 3, Episode 9, Minotaur, and this is our reaction video. I gotta tell you, I was taking notes, just going through some stuff here. You knew it was bad news right from the beginning when they had the little battle of what Jake wants, what Walker wants, and it was very dark, and it was going to just unravel, and we're going to talk about that. So hopefully I didn't spoil it too much for you guys. I mean, that's a little bit of kind of what happened. If you haven't watched it, we are going to go through a little bit of the episode. We're going to react to it. I'm going to read some of your comments, so I appreciate all you guys being here. I know it's a little bit of a late night stream. We used to do these all the time. We're getting back into them, so I got to get my my feet beneath me and ready to go. If you guys have not been to one of our live streams before, this is kind of the way it works. This is talk radio, it's podcast, so we're not going to blow you away with a bunch of fancy graphics. I am going to acknowledge some of your comments. We're going to talk about the show 15-20 minutes and just make sure that everybody had a good time and caught some of the same stuff. So I see some people starting to stream in. Kel is still there. She is that's my strength right now. She is weathering this hurricane, and hopefully it'll blow over to the side, Kel, and you guys won't get hit too bad. But I'm going to catch you up really quickly. I see Lynn the Zombie Fox. Thanks for being here. P. Diddy, Diane Estes, and a bunch of the regular crowd is here. So thanks for waiting up and going through some of this. So we're going to go through it. Let me say this had a storyline to it. There were parts of it that I thought were very interesting. It went back and forth. There were some parts that did remind me a little bit of The Walking Dead when it got a little slower, when they started introducing the kingdom. I kind of got that feel a little bit. Not a whole lot of action through most of it, but there were some parts that did that definitely lived up to it. So we'll kind of hit a little bit of both. Overall, if you guys had to, before we get into the specifics, let's do our rating system. If you had to rate it between a 1 and a 10, what would you give it? Just want to see what the thought process is, and I'll give you my scoring to let you know what I feel about the mid-season premiere. But the last 2 or 3 episodes I really liked, and I'm all in for Season 3. So Season 3, I've had a good time with it so far. And as we see some of the scores that go in, I thought it had its moments, but it also, there were some parts that were a little bit repetitive to me. I have to be honest with you. I'm not just here to say it was fantastic. When they do a great episode, I'll be the first one to tell you, it's a 10, it's a 10, it's great. Kind of like when Preacher got out of the gates. I thought Preacher was excellent. So I'm right there with most of you. I think a 7 to an 8 is where I rate it. It was a necessary episode. You still have to have these to sort of bridge the gap. But wow, there's some pretty high scores coming in there. So Jamie Taylor's 8.9. Emmy, you always rate high. I give up. If this show was a 5, Emmy's going to give it a 9. It's she's always the one judge, like, you know, when the gymnasts go and the person falls down. Emmy's still holding up like a 10. It's like, you know, I didn't even see you fall. You did that great pirouette, so I'm still giving you a 10. All right, we'll go through a little bit of it. So we see, you know, we know Jake is still sick. He's stuck with this anthrax, probably never going to go away. Nick looks like he's fought it off a little bit more so. And then it kind of goes back and forth. You get 2 storylines going. So Daniel's helping out with water. That's a real dicey situation. And this whole episode really is about water. I mean, I do want to ask the question before we get too far into it. So Madison and Walker are overlooking the river of water. Can they not get water out of that river? Did I miss something here? What's wrong with the river water? Can they not find a way to, like, purify this stuff? I mean, at some point, even if they go trade for water, they're still going to run out of water again. Just help me out with this a little bit. Hey, thanks, Andrew. Appreciate you being here. You know what? I was thinking the exact same thing. James Gallego says, tired of how they keep reuniting. They find each other very, very easily. So with that question, I'm just going to wait for a few of your comments, and we're going to get through a little bit of the of the dialogue they had back and forth. That's true. Burn the bodies so there's no contamination. Tommy like wants to get him some Brita filters. There's got to be some Brita around there somewhere. So, you know, we've done our random thing streams before. I think I would change, you know, we asked people like, what would you take in a zombie apocalypse? So I don't know what I said before, but I definitely think a water purifier would probably be number one on my list. All right, we're going to walk through a little bit of it. Walker is bearing the body. Alicia walks up, and her sole intent in the beginning is just to basically say she knows there's some deals going on between Walker and Madison. Madison's always got to put her nose in something. It's funny how Madison's always in control, but she always acts like she's never in control. So you see Jake and Walker, you know, this group, but Madison's really the one calling the shots. And poor Terrence. Terrence got a gun, and that's when things really started to boil over. It was the small things like pouring the coffee out, making some of the attempts at racial comments. I thought it was interesting that Troy looked at the Indian, Native American, and called him Kimosabi. And he says, Kimosabi was the name for Lone Ranger, you meant Tonto. So he actually corrected him on it. Troy back to being hated Troy once again. Jake was very reluctant to give the key to Taka, to Walker, and then said, we're going to be prisoners on our own land. And I thought that really, to me, was all the foreshadowing I needed. All right, we're going to take a few comments here. Kale wants a cameo performance from Morris. He's out of this stream. He'll be in the next one. Yeah, Rial, I agree with that. Jake was an idiot. He had the chance to stand his ground, and then when Madison kind of pushed the issue a little bit more, he's like, okay, yeah, that was dumb. That's my frustration, I think, with Fear the Walking Dead, is some of the stuff that they do is they haven't learned. Rick ain't turning over the key. But in the beginning, I don't know, maybe Rick would have turned over the key. Maybe you have to be seasoned and realize that you can't trust people, you can't trust walkers, you can't trust people named Walker. That's like twice as bad, right? It's a double whammy. Well, we're going to catch you up. GBC Majestic has not watched Fear since season 1. I will tell you, season 1 was okay. I started losing a little bit in season 2. I decided to come back for season 3, and I'm glad. I've been pleased with season 3 so far. But tonight did not feel like a premiere to me. So before we get into some of the other events that happened and kind of my reactions to them, you know, for something that's either a season premiere or mid-season premiere, and I see most of the viewers here rating it 7, you know, low 7s, what would you have liked to seen that would have made it a more, could have made it like an awesome mid-season premiere? Everyone can answer except Emmy thought it was a 9 anyway. Yep. And even the reuniting. There's Strand again. I mean, if you think about all the coincidences that have happened, I can't imagine that the Walking. I don't think The Walking Dead in more seasons, in 7 seasons, have had as many coincidences as Fear the Walking Dead. We could probably go through and chart them, how Nick got separated and then Madison finds Nick and then they get separated again, and Strand separated and Daniel separated and Ophelia separated, and then I'm confused at this point. I'm not confused, but I guess they do it so often that I've kind of forgotten about how often they do it. And at some point, Troy's going to be reunited. Yeah. Actually, Emmy, I'm going to agree with you. A main character death would have kicked it up. Carol wants to see more infected killings. A Troy death would have. You know, if Troy would have died in the gunfire instead of setting him free, but they have to set up where they're going to reunite with Troy later on. Oh, and I left out the Travis. That was probably the most bizarre thing. That didn't happen tonight, but we're talking about the series. Is how Travis just finds them all at a hotel. And then Daniel and Strand at a dam. Yeah, when it's that obvious, I think it insults the intelligence of the viewing audience. I don't know, maybe it's accurate, because I say it insults my intelligence, but I can't remember all the separations and reuniting, and then I just accept it. So maybe, yeah, maybe they're right on. Maybe I'm not as intelligent as I claim to be. Not enough walkers, so Jill wants to see more walkers. All right, we're going to go through, let's scroll through a couple of these things. So we know the showdown, then it went back and forth. Troy lived but got exiled. And I thought it was interesting that Nick thought that telling Troy about him killing his Jeremiah, and that actually made Troy surrender or lose his focus, as opposed to just shooting Nick. I mean, that's a risky play. I am loving this this new hold feature. I don't know if I announced it earlier, but now chat can be paused. So if you get someone like that that idiot that just came into chat and just typed a bunch of stupid stuff that you guys didn't see, I was able to block them before anybody ever saw it. I am really, really liking that feature. So special shout out to Google and the people over at YouTube. Tommy saw it, right? So, a couple things here. All right, Troy did get exiled. Nick got put in the hot box. So who else thought that Nick, with the anthrax virus, I guess, still in his body, punishment was excessive? It was more of those principal punishments, but here you have Nick who's out there, and I thought that was bad writing as well. I got to be honest. So Nick's locked up, and Madison and Nick have this moment like she pats him on the head. But if you really think your son's dying, all the stuff she's done for him, couldn't she have put her foot down a little bit more and just said, you know what, okay, he was out here for a few hours, enough is enough, get him out of the freaking box before he dies. Because all he's going to do, we got a water shortage, you're going to dehydrate him, and now he's going to drink like 5 gallons instead of 2 gallons. So I didn't like that part. In fact, of all the things in the episode tonight, there were some things I liked. That was probably the worst. And then, you know, he's hallucinating, he's seeing Troy, and then Madison gives him water, taps him on the head. I love you, Nick. I'm not leaving till I know you're okay. Then get him out. Yeah, that bothered me. Madison has proven she will do anything for her kids, but yet she leaves him locked up with the chance that he could die. And why is he not going to die? Because Walker said, no, he'll make it. And so then Troy gets exiled. One guard in the back, Madison and Troy. That was clever. Sorry, I'm catching up with a couple comments. So Troy asked the guard if he's left-handed, and the guy said no. And then now that I thought was cool, because he's like, okay, he had to time it, and then he takes a knife away from him and chop, 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 chop. You pretty much saw what happened there. Predictable, but the way they went about it, I thought that was pretty decent. Now, I was also anxious to see how Madison was going to go back and tell Walker another one of his men got chopped up. Because he seems like a very impatient guy. Like, I would have thought Walker would have... Madison comes back, he's like, hey, you know, Troy did manage to break loose again, even though I had a gun. And he did manage to... I decided not to shoot him. So let me ask each of you this as we go, because I'm curious. I'm curious how you guys think, because writing and unrealistic writing kind of intrigues me. So why would Madison put more value on Troy's life than the person Troy just killed? So if you were Madison and you see Troy with a knife, wouldn't you shoot him? I would. I would have shot him down. Because basically, here's the thing. If she feels like she owes Troy something, you're still exiling him. You're still, he's walking through the wilderness. You're telling him he's never going to come back. You're never going to see him again. You're sending him out there with no family, barely enough food. He's probably going to die. He's not going to die. But I understand why they did it from a writing perspective. But why would you not just shoot him? Yeah, James, I don't disagree. She does have some feelings for Troy, or he's like one of those kids that maybe she had as a guidance counselor. But still, you're still letting him go, and you're never going to see him again, so he's pretty much dead to you. I would have gunned him down. Exactly, Lynn. That was my same question. I thought they glossed over that as well. So that whole sequence bothered me from they didn't kill Troy after Troy's trying to snipe people. They decided to punish Nick, even though Nick is the one that talked him down. Excessive. And then they give him one bullet and they decide to let him go. Even the whole speech with Jake, it's like, I don't remember the exact words, but I love you, brother, but you can't come back. Ever. Can't come back. I mean, not even a person. All right, moving on to a couple more topics, and then we're going to wind the stream down. So, the water event, two things. We had the bazaar, and then we had the water event. And I'll talk about both. One, the double dipping, people coming back for water. It seemed like it was happening on both sides. Do you think Alicia was justified in saying there's only 6 weeks water, telling people the truth? Check a few of these comments. I'm actually going to read a few of these because I want to see how you guys reacted to Alicia. That's a good question, Diane. Why didn't he fight for his brother? Because I guess he's tired of fighting for his brother. So Jamie says, should have told him the truth. Well, yeah, but maybe not at that moment. She told him the truth, just like you can see it runs in the family. Well, it runs, maybe they get it from Travis, because Madison is kind of sneaky. But Nick did the same thing. Nick didn't tell the truth until he was desperate and had no other choice. With Troy, it's like, hey, I killed your father. And then Alicia, the exact same thing, is they're getting ready to, have this all-out, stealing water. Hey, by the way, there's only 6 weeks water. That's why we're doing this. And then it pissed people off more. Now they feel more desperate. So that should have been the type of thing that I think they should have gotten everybody together and said, look, we need to be calm. We need to be rational. This is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. Instead of that. Remember when they, they were up there and they wanted to sort of, I need 5 gallons of water for my horse, and I need this and I need that, and they were talking to Jake, and Alicia runs and defends Jake, but without any justification except, hey, he's had a bad week, he's done this, he lost his brother, a couple other things, but that was the rationale behind this is why you should listen to him. And you can see Jake is a weak leader because then he's just kind of like, yeah, she's right. And toward the end, Jake's leadership was completely gone. You didn't even see Jake toward the end of the episode. And we're going to wrap it up with the bazaar. And it was very bizarre. Is one, the price to get in. A radio gets you 2 days inside a bazaar so you can wheel and deal, hustle, got to have something to trade. And then the fact of being stranded in the bazaar. and another moment between Strand and Madison. You can definitely see he has some feelings for Madison. And I see something happening with that in the future. So Wolf says, Alicia still thinks too much with her heart, not her head. She lacks the ability to think long term. True, true. Wolf says Jake was never a leader. All right, so we've got about 3 or 4 more minutes. We're just going to wrap this up. I want to keep it to about 30 minutes. I know it's a little bit late. We're sort of, as I said before, we're sort of breaking back into these reaction videos. My overall reaction, you probably heard it, kind of went back and forth. I think I was hyped as a mid-season premiere. A lot of focus on water. I thought the importance was definitely there, that you can see. The one thing that I do think that they do better on Fear the Walking Dead is they focus on the essentials. Where on The Walking Dead, I think they miss some of that and you take it for granted. But it might be, it's funny they're doing that, because one time I saw an interview with Scott Gimple and he says the audience doesn't really want to worry about every little detail. But it seems like in Fear the Walking Dead, they are going back and focusing on all those little details. So I don't know. I don't know what I like better in that regard. I'm not talking about just from an overall show standpoint. But they do focus on the bigger picture, like, hey, we need to trade, we need food. But they did it a little bit, but I guess we're so far into Walking Dead, you're just going to assume that they have water. You're going to assume that they're going to fight for their food or they're going to scavenge for their food. And Fear the Walking Dead, they're just sort of telling the story and making it, they're trying to make you feel like you're actually there and you need the water and you want the water, and I can appreciate that. I just wished everything just wasn't so coincidental and kind of cumbersome with going back to meeting up and meeting up and meeting up. I thought they spread the group way too far out early on in the episode, and now they're trying to reel everybody back in. That's my thought. That's my reaction to it. So I know you guys had some definitely different reactions and different feelings. The spectrum's anywhere between a 6.5, I think, on our rating up to a 9. But this one left a little bit more to be desired. But as soon as I lower the bar a little bit, they come back and they just knock me out with a really good episode. So that's kind of my reaction, how I feel about it. I appreciate all of you guys showing up. Thanks for being here for a late night episode. We will do a couple things throughout the week. We're going to have a little bit of sports talk tomorrow. We're going to have some random things on Tuesday. We're going to get back into, we're counting down since we're a little bit over a month away. We'll get back to our Walker streams on Wednesday. So we got a full slate of things coming up this week. I appreciate all the interaction, everything that you guys do. We are going to talk a little bit of 999 Sports tomorrow because we made some predictions. Tommy's pretty happy. The Eagles took care of business, so I'll table some of that. If you guys are not subscribed to all the channels, get subscribed to 999 Gaming. We'll talk a little bit about your favorite football teams and some surprises over the weekend. Some really good stuff. And also, once again, special shout out to all the people that are just braving the weather, and best of luck. Hopefully we all get through this very, very safely. So I'm going to do a few shout outs at the end of this video, and then we will wind it down. So I want to say thank you for all your participation, your thoughts, your comments. To Deadhead, thank you for being here. Also, James Gallegos. Kel says, smile. Six-Eyed Sports, your Texans did lose. That's okay. They'll be back next year. It's going to take a little while for Watson to get his game going. Tommy, thank you for being here. Emmy Desiree Bacon, appreciate you being here as well. Jamie Taylor. Who else we got in the house? I was like, what's football? It's that thing that we don't watch because we're watching Fear the Walking Dead. Lynn the Zombie Fox, thank you so much. Appreciate the love. Carol McFry, thank you, Carol. Appreciate you being here. Also, Jim McGuire, thank you for being here. Good night, Bethany. Thank you for being here, Bethany. Steph Richardson, the Cuervo Queen. Thanks, Steph. Thanks for sticking around for a late night stream as well. I appreciate all the all the dedication and everything that you guys do. I was not on my upsets in college football, but I did pick some pretty good professional ones. All right. Thank you, everybody. If I missed you in a shout-out when this video goes live, just leave your comment in that in the comments area down below. Also, oh, there we go. Diane Estes, thank you for being here. Shout-out to you. Andrew Petrie, thank you for being here as well. Appreciate that, Lynn. Thank you so much. And as you guys know, as we get closer and closer to Walking Dead season, it will ramp up. So just be prepared. More streams, more interaction, more of your comments being included in videos. Thanks once again. I will talk to you all tomorrow night. Peace.